Okay, welcome everybody to our monthly Pro-Organic Belize speaker meeting. And this month it is a little different again, that it's pre-recorded since our star, Janice Bain, could not be available today. So Karen Westick went and recorded her. So, but still sort of the same guidelines apply for the meeting. That if everybody can mute themselves and stay muted because the meeting is being recorded. And since Janice is not with us today, we won't really have a Q&A per se at the end. But if you have questions during the presentation, what you can do is submit them via the chat option and send it to everyone. And then at the end of the presentation, I get a copy of all the chat session, so that way I can pass those along and Janice will get them and reply back to any questions. And Karen can post the answers on the website by where the video will be recorded, posted. So just a quick introduction to Pro-Organic. You can get all kinds of information from our Facebook page about details of Pro-Organic. So Facebook Pro-Organic Belize. And then our Facebook group is for discussion. And that's Facebook groups Pro-Organic Belize. And just our organization, Karen's done an awesome job with the Pro-Organic Belize website. And that's pro-organicbelize.org. And you can go there and find out pretty much anything you want to know about our organization. Kind of what we're involved in, what our goals are. And the other thing you can find there is a recording of all of our speaker meetings that have been done via Zoom for the last 2 years. So just go to the speaker page and click on which one you want to watch. They've all been recorded and Karen posts them on the website, as this one will be also. You can get information about the Pro-Organic Belize Consumer Group, which is a weekly list that goes out about pesticide-free produce and how to get in on that list for ordering the produce. Okay, so again, if you have questions that come up during the presentation, just send the question in the chat session to everyone. And then we'll, at the end, we'll kind of open it up to if anybody has any comments or questions that, just among those of us on the call, we can, kind of quickly discuss. And we have our turmeric expert on the call also with Amita. So any questions that come up about that, I imagine she'd be more than happy to answer. I'm volunteering you. Okay, so Karen will do just a real brief intro about Janice, who she is, what she does. And then she will show the video. So just kind of bear with us here because it is a pre-recorded video that she'll be showing where she's interviewed Janice. So I will stop sharing my screen and Karen, you can start sharing and do your quick little intro of Janice.
Okay, I'm just pulling it up now, following the instructions that we went through yesterday. Herbalist. She had a television show for a couple of years called the Herb Lover's Corner, which was, I believe, on once a week. And she's pretty well known in the Cayo area because she has always had a booth at the market and where she exchanges with people and talks about different herbs. And she lives deep in the jungle with her husband, who's a bushman. And she's kind of an interesting character and an interesting person. And I'm going to put her video on now. What I'm going to be doing, because I couldn't figure out how to edit it, it's quite long. I'm going to stop the video and then start it again where I would have edited it. But the entire video is going to be online on YouTube. So if you wanted to watch the whole thing, but here we go. Okay, so I want to introduce you to Janice Bain, who is a famous herbalist here in Belize. She helps a lot of
Video's not showing yet, Karen.
it's showing on my screen.
Did you do?
Janic herb. Just make. Okay. So how do I, oh, here we go. Okay, so I want to introduce you to Janic Bain, who is a famous herbalist here in Belize. She helps a lot of people with natural healing, and she's going to talk today about predominantly the adaptogenic herbs and also about earthing. So maybe one of the things you can start doing is telling me about what is an adaptogenic herb.
It enhances the healing process in the body,
Uh-huh.
and it moves it in a way where it is, firstly, the body is designed to heal its own self. So therefore it produces the serums it needs according to how it's adapted to whatever crisis it's in. And before you know it, your body starts to heal its own self. So really the herbs or medications or anything else that we can do to heal our body, operations or whatever, it's by choice. You're choosing to do this. It's not that it is necessarily the right choice, but you go ahead and you do it because you might be able to live with those decisions. But in either case, I don't want to rag on that format. What I'm saying is that because the body has the power to heal itself, all we have to do is sit back and don't violate any of the health laws, right? And once you violate those health laws, which we do every day by eating processed meats and foods and denatured stuff and not enough vegetables and you know it's boring, I'm sure they're hearing this, yet vegetables and things are, if you don't go to the market, you don't find them in your little shop, you know. And if you don't have a little backyard garden to keep those active, live, organic thing going inside of you, you're a living being, you know, you're alive. Yet you keep eating food that is been sitting in a bucket for 2, 3 years in heavy sodium and MSG, and you know, just so it doesn't rot. So the body is just being fed this continually, and it's a negative drive, and you know they. So we have very unhealthy people all over the world, not just in Belize, right? Eating crap food every day, right? And in a rush, nobody stops and smell the roses. This is why earthing plays such an important role, because it kind of compels you to sit in nature for a required time daily. And it's just like you take your cell phone and you plug in your cell phone and it gets recharged and you make your calls, you do your thing, you watch your shows. Then when it runs down again, you let it go too low, then you have some trouble charging it back up. It's the same with your body. Once you put your bare feet, and you don't necessarily have to be walking, all you have to do is to sit in nature. And what I find works more important for me, that while I'm there in nature with my feet there, and I'm starting to feel the neurons that generate this electricity and recharges my body. And I've had more experiences for being my age and not on any medication or seen a doctor in over 40 years. I must say that living a natural lifestyle works for me. And I would suggest this for anyone who has a health issue, is to pause. Just pause and let your conscience guide you in making the decisions of eliminating certain things out of your life. You know, and
So
once
just sitting with your feet on the ground in nature.
you can sit on a chair, like I sit on a chair.
Uh-huh.
And I put my foot on the ground and I will weed, because I have a place that this place really continually has to be weeded, right? 'Cause I use no chemical here whatsoever. And Clorox, but I'm trying to replace Clorox with vinegar.
Uh-huh.
But I've come to the point where it's an attitude too, right? Once you eliminate these processed foods out of your life, it's like you become a different person. You become like a calm person. You it's like a new window is open in your life, a new window, and that window is not rush. I'm not You're suddenly concerned of what you're putting inside of you, right?
Right.
And the conditions of how it was prepared, and what kind of oils they use, and salts, and all those things. Yes, it might sound boring, because there was a young man some years ago that I was telling. He asked me a question: what can I do to feel better? And I thought I'd be honest and tell him. Hoo, hoo, hoo. He looked at me, Karen, and he said, Miss, you're a bloody fool. Wow, how you tell me eating something as nice as pigtail could hurt me? I mean, I had to just laugh and just let it go, because I could see he was not open, and I didn't want to provoke him into an argument by saying anything. Just let it go. But I held him up in prayer, hoping that somehow he would get caught into this, and face the reality that your health starts with what you put inside of you. Period. Right? And once you start nurturing your body the way that it is designed, and put in the required minerals and nutrients every day, and it wouldn't be fried jack for every breakfast, right? And a piece of sausage, it would be a fruit and some juice and water. But okay, the four things that's hurting Belizeans right now that I see is too much fried food, and the oils that they're using are very harmful. I'm not going to name any brands, but once any of these oils that is not cold pressed is put in your pot to cook, you're basically going to have a reaction once it heats 110, and your liver is not going to like it. Then you're backing it up with maybe some beans that you didn't soak overnight to remove those toxins, and put in fresh water to boil it. So you're continually keep putting things in your body that it doesn't like. And take cheese, right? It's a big industry, and it's wonderful. I mean, wow, pizza. It's like superfood, but too much cheese is gonna do you in, because it's basically a mold, and you keep eating it, and it makes your body moldy. Just like when you eat too much peanuts, or you eat peanuts, right? Your body responds different ways. Some people are grossly allergic to peanuts. But once you keep your body centered, and your foot on the ground, required a minimum, right? 30 minutes a day. But if you could go a full hour, you would be benefited.
With your feet on the ground.
Or your feet
in
on the
nature.
ground. Yeah, you want to include nature. Now, see, this is where we've distracted ourselves, is nature, away from nature. But the sounds of nature has a vibration, and it heals you. And pretty soon you'll tune in that the ugliness of reality is, you have a new window now. This new window is a peace, it's respect, it's courtesy, it's kindness, it's patience, and you practice it. Your mind is open to this, and every time you put something in your mouth, it's something wonderful, right? That you know you're going to benefit from, minerals, or nutrients, or C's, or vitamins, but your body is going to rejoice, right? And this is basically your secret to getting healthy, is to avoid what you know your body don't want, and what you know your conscience is telling you is not good for you. And there are many choices of how you can take a healthy life. But if you want longevity, and you want to live long years, you need to change the path that you're going with your food, and understand You don't have to have a garden with a pledge of rose. Um, a 5 by 10 garden, 5 feet by 10 feet garden to start with would maintain a good, healthy lifestyle. Especially if you're not a person that like to take nature walks, right? Because once you start walking, like out here where I live, you're going to find a lot of food that you can forage, right? Like greens, right? Like herbs, and some what you need sometimes when I'm down, COVID have brought everyone down because it's changed the routine. Even a glass of just chlorophyll tea, right, brings the body elated back up. Just some grass.
Well, we are nature, so
That's born
that
from
makes
it,
sense. Makes sense.
born from it. So you take yourself back there and you get recharged. Once you get recharged, now your brain starts to operate in this new window, right? You're not holding on to all those. You've forgiven people and you've forgiven yourself. So while you move into this area now, that you start to share this because it it works for you, and when something works for you, you're ecstatic. I want to tell you because I love you. I used to have this pain here, and I stopped drinking 8 cups of coffee a day. You know what I'm saying? Some reality, and I'm not eating any more, whatever, barbecue or,
So
fried chicken.
let's talk a little bit about the adaptogenic herbs
The
because that
adaptogenic curves,
seems
yes,
to be
that's where we were.
very, very big today.
And this is a good thing to notice about herbs in our thing. When you see a herb grows a lot, like this albahaca, which is albahaca is a basil. There are 35 species of basil, and there are some other species of basils, but which are cross. But the five that they list, um, they all have the same properties to ease pain. They're analgesic, But one of the most powerful thing about it, it helps the brain to do the things that it's been clouded and fogged out with because of the chemicals that's in our food. We're not so it's continually robbing to go and fix the problem in the body because but adaptogen helps the body, right? It produces more of the serum that the body needs to speed it up and get it going. Plus it works profoundly on your brain, and it is nothing more than a devotional kind um, attitude. Like you notice some children like in India and other countries that use a lot of these basils in their lifestyle. They're humble and they don't talk back to their parents, and they don't like rush out and seek postmarital intimacy. It's like a whole different mindset. And this is why I first got into adaptogens when I learned about ashwagandha. And ashwagandha is a powerful herb because what it does is it goes right out to your senses, right? And it just nurtures everything. Pain gone, you're sweet, you just love everybody, there's no negative in nothing. And you know what I found out with children that are 2-year old and stuff that just get too much sugar and they just can't sit still and focus and think on anything. So the sugar, 1 drop per year. So a 2-year old would get 2 drops, and 3-year old 3 drops, and you keep going up. Now, once you get to 16, you can give them an adult, a young adult dosage, right?
which is like a dropper full.
Yes, or half of a dropper full
Yeah,
or
you
something.
gave me some of that, and I tried it, and I tell you, I really felt different. I felt cleaner, and
It makes you devotion.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know that there are certain adaptogenic herbs, like ginseng is one I know,
Yes.
and the holy basil, of course, is one that
Yes.
grows here very well.
Yes. All basils are adaptogen.
Yeah, all basil.
They all have the same thing. But the creator in his infinite, he made them with different smells,
Uh-huh.
different colors, different things. But as long as they have that awesome asimnom um, name,
Right.
whichever generis it is, then you know it's basil and it has that stuff in it. That book you gave me, that Amma wrote about the holy basil, and she wrote of Krishna and Rama in it.
Right.
That's a wonderful book. While I don't necessarily agree with all the spiritual angles, but the research that she has done on the adaptogenic parts
Right.
of how it helps people heal, and everyone, no matter who you are, you have the power to promote healing in your body, and speedy, because there's so much things that you can do. And the first thing is change how you eat, and you get your brain.
Right.
But and the other thing, like we were saying, earth your body every day. Every day you go out and you sit
With your feet on the ground.
with
Bare
your
feet.
feet. Uh-huh. And you know, which is a good thing to do, is to get into gardening. It is. I remember when I didn't like gardening, when I used to live in the States, and I had these long manicured nails, and you know everything, and I just was, son, no. But now, I mean, I don't wear gloves because I need that extra energy from the neurons in the earth to
Touching the
energize my
plants.
body. Yeah. And you know, if I could give you a brief little history about me, born in Santa Elena, Cayo, I was a dairy baby. My father, who was not a at home father, but and I don't really know him, but he came from a family that had a lot of
A lot of what?
cattle,
Ah,
cows and
okay.
horses and all that stuff, birds, right? So we used to eat a lot of cheese, a lot of dairy products, right, and a lot of meat, and as a result, I have suffered bone and density problems, and it started to mature on me when I was about 35. I noticed that my bones, they were doing things that they weren't normal. Uh-huh. I'm talking. Oh, okay. So the fact remain is that dairy was what caused my problem. And I remember going to school at St. Mary's School, and the teacher would whip whomever didn't want to take that dairy, that milk, and then it was in this milk form. It was in a powder form, and it gave us diarrhea, and it, but through the years, I guess the genes kind of adopted to them or something. But now that I am over 70, I can see that there were definitely some severe bone damages for me and fertility issues, right? But not being no quote unquote professional, I'm just telling you my experience, and I don't know what responds best for me more than my experiences. And so that's what happened to me, and this concept of I didn't know about adaptogens. Even though I was a little girl, my grandmother would send me out for Cerosi, send me out for Jan Charles, and send me out to get other herbs, from the yard. And this was my thing. I didn't want to run out and go and get um, eggs, or do the chickens, and I didn't want to kill chickens. I don't know if I can though, Karen. I'm trying. Um, she she they were natural. They had a little garden going, and they used the chicken poop to put on the garden, and they did their little thing, and they did the best their can, and but meat was what our problem was. And this is before they started to vaccinate these guys and put the little things in their ears and all that stuff like they used to. But where I'm going with this is that a little herb, a lifestyle change, like our ancestors that lived to be 900 and something years old. There is records of that. And it is because they had a total different lifestyle of eating than we do now.
So how did you get into the study of herbs and plants?
Um, I ask God for a divine um, duty to serve Him, and like I said, I've had other jobs in my lifetime. I've been to college, but I didn't graduated because I got caught up into a whole other thing that would take a whole chapter to explain, you know. But
That's for your book when you write your book.
but I herbs is a lifestyle. And when I came back from living in the United States for 25 years, I met Robert. And we started I became it was like this burning desire to be out in nature and see things, and there was sounds and things in nature. And then eventually I got caught into herbs, right? And I have always loved herbs. One of my most favorite herb is the cannabis. It's one of the most profound herb, and yet it's been isolated for so many years. It's been treated as a criminal, and I'm glad that it's acquiring some respect
Right.
that it should have in all these years, because there the research is there for how it's helped
Medicinally and
everyone
fuel,
in many
fiber.
ways.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest gifts, I believe. And there are so many. I think there's like 25,000 uses for it, and it could actually replace all of the industrial chemicals that we're getting from petroleum now.
Well, I see they're going back to it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, in Belize, you can grow it, and there are growers in Belize who are making medicines from it and food. It's a superior food. Australia apparently survived two famines using the hemp seed for food.
Yes,
And of
yes.
course, for the industrial hemp, you don't get high from that, so there should be no concern there. Although there is, because people just don't know. But getting back to the adaptogenic herbs, you have some herbs here at the table, and this purple flower is fascinating to me.
It's
Maybe you could
yeah.
talk about this flower and
Yeah, this
show
is
it.
a lovely flower.
And what is this called?
It's called the butterfly pea flower, or
Butterfly pea flower?
yeah, or here is something about this butterfly pea flower. It's You can find some information on this. The scientific name is Clitoria ternatia, as in clitoris, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, and so it has this folklore based on that it has its some sense in fertility, and it has certain desires. Well, there's that explanation, but when I was growing up, this flower was used as a blue magic to grow Afro-American hair that didn't grow.
Oh, wow.
They used to use this flower to make a rinse or a hair dress
Uh-huh.
to put in the hair, because you would hear of Blue Magic. Now, Blue Magic still exists. I think it's the name of the company, but they have different products now, and they're not making
You're not
this blue
using the
thing.
flower.
No, maybe it's because it requires a lot of
Is it a
harvesting and
vine
process.
or does it?
See, you can photograph it over there on. I have a house full of it,
Ah,
and every day I harvest. My first harvest was 7,
uh-huh.
and now I'm harvesting hundreds a day now.
Wow.
My whole point on this was, like I said, my purpose to be with you here on this show is to share alternative solutions for
Right.
some income and health, right? Without overburdening yourself with so many other aspects. Just using faith as your backdrop. And this is a good thing, because like I was telling you, it's expensive on the internet. They charge like 25 US for 1 ounce
Whoa.
of this, right? And I see that Several women with hair down to the ground are using it as a hair wash, hair set. Me, I just put it in tea or I just eat it, right? I just eat it.
Put it in salads.
You can put them in
What does it
salads.
taste like?
It tastes just like a blue flowers. Taste one.
Okay.
Taste one right there. It's not bad. I'd eat it, but I don't want the camera to see my teeth blue.
It doesn't have much taste. Doesn't have much flavor, but it doesn't. It's not bitter or anything.
It's the medicinal value that is in it that is profound. Now, once you look this up, a whole nother window of you're gonna see how people is using this herb. If
So
you
this would be a good niche
cottage
product.
market, whether you're
for
making a
maybe,
hair product,
yeah.
soap, whether you're putting it in hair rinse, or making it into a tonic for the body, because now making this tea, and this has a chemical reaction to like lemon, so from this beautiful blue it'll turn into a beautiful purple
With lemon.
with lemon squeezed in there, so it has a reaction, an alkaline and acidic
And what is
things.
this? This here is the flowers.
Those of the flowers dried.
Dried.
Now, when I first started, this is Contrivo.
This is country boat.
No, the reason why you said you wanted the most popular herbs of Belize,
Yeah.
and Contrivo is one of the most profound and
And that's a vine.
popular herb. Yes, it grows as a vine, but I'll tell you something. Like everything in life, there are two sides to it. And there's a dark side to this plant that I'd like to make known today.
Oh.
Because a lot of people have gone, so maybe there's a reason why this plant have become endangered and over harvest. This is the Rainforest Remedy book.
Rosita Arvido.
Yes, this is a lovely book, and I would suggest every home should have this book.
I have a copy.
Yes, you can learn so much from this book about what is growing right in your yard. Okay, let's go to the Contrivo. Right there, you see those leaves right there, and this little flower right there. See the little flower? Can you pop a couple of the leaves so I can demonstrate how that works? This Contrivo has a very unique smell. And what it does is, this is about the only plant that will make it through the washing machine and come out still hugging your clothes. Yeah.
That's how you can
Yeah.
identify it.
It makes a good natural name tag for events too. But the dark side of Contrivo, beside removing colds and helping male exercise ecstasy, is they overdo it. And on a research done in Jamaica, on 100 men, 95 of them came up with cancer. And it was liver cancer from overdoing Contrivo. And this woman was very bold in approaching me about, because I was so proudly putting Contrivo on my label for the Fideman bottle of Fideman tonic that I made. And she told me that ought not to be there. So I went to do my homework. Yes, she gave me the reasons why she thought. And I went after it. I researched what she said, and then I found that yes, those our men have been overdoing it, especially. There are two sides to it. And there's a dark side to this plant that I'd like to make known today. Because a lot of people have gone, so maybe there's a reason why this plant have become endangered and over harvest. This is the Rainforest Remedy book.
Rosita Arvido.
Yes, this is a lovely book. Up with cancer, and it was liver cancer from overdoing Contrivo. And this woman was very bold in approaching me about, because I was so proudly putting Contrivo on my label for the Fideman bottle of Fideman tonic that I made. And she told me that that ought not to be there. So I went to do my homework. Yes, she gave me the reasons why she thought. And I went after it. I researched what she said, and then I found that yes, those our men have been overdoing it, especially putting it in rum,
Uh-huh.
and that has caused the liver to not be, because they were using too much. Now, when I first came back from the States, I remember you got a roll of Contrivo like 2 inches thick for $5.
Uh-huh.
Now you get just a little thing, and it's not as much as it used to be because it's over harvested, and it hasn't been planted. In right. I remember when we used to go up to mile 22 and dig Contrivo to sell, and it was a lot, right? And we were always careful not to take everything, and leave it so it could regenerate itself. So anyway, this is the dark side to Contrivo, using too much. So how do you know what is enough? So she said, well, 2 inches is enough for a treatment, and even at that, you want to be boiling this Contrivo 5 or 6 times before it's exhausted its nutritional values, right? Now, right now, there's a new kind of Contrivo. I call it the Dubsy Contrivo. Dubsy is from Roaring Creek, but it's actually Waco, right? It's smell. It does have an unusual smell. Like Contrivo has a very unique smell. So does Waco, but it is not Contrivo. Contrivo is, maybe they might be first cousins, but they're not. So this is Contriva now. People put it in their water, and since the vines are not available, you can use the flowers. You can crush the flowers and put it in hot water and drink, or in your water bottle, and you get the same essence that you can. Actually, most flowers you can put in water, and once you do that, you extract that electrical healing out of the flower, and you get it in water. It takes 2 hours for that process to come about.
Just cool water, or you boil the water with it?
No, just regular water.
Just soak
Your
it in
water
water.
bottle that you take to work.
Okay, like you put cucumbers in water. And then
Yes,
put the
you put the
flowers.
flowers. You go
Uh-huh.
through your garden early in the morning and you get those flowers with the dewdrops on them, and then you put them in your water thing, and within 2 hours you drink that. It's called flower essence.
Uh-huh.
And a lady, several people have written books on the meaning of different things, and people have testimonies that these herbs work very well for them,
Right.
and have caused them to do many things that they were not able to. But mostly, what is affected is our mind. It's been programmed to be defensive and depressed and fearful, and these are the things we need to take out of our mindset.
So how do we know which herbs would be the best for us? We just trial and error, or are there herbs for specific things? For example, someone mentioned they wanted to learn what would be a good herb for your lungs to build your lungs system.
Okay, there is a doctrine of signature. When a herb looks like something, then it's good for that.
Ah,
Like there's some leaves that are speckled, and you see the similarity of a diseased lungs. But if you're not in tune to that concept, right, you could maybe just look it up. Just ask Mr. Google's, show me what is good for my liver. And you're going to find one of the most important thing that your liver doesn't like is grease.
it's sweets.
Grease.
Oh, grease.
Grease, oils.
Oils. Yeah.
So a lot of people end up with fatty liver.
Yeah.
And especially when you're in a culture where everything is fried. Like in America, when I was there the last time, everything was fried and had cheese on it. So I started eating cheese again because I had acquired that taste again for eating cheese when I had gotten over it for 4 years.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm back, doodling in cheese. I had to drop it again, for the main fact I didn't like my smell.
Uh-huh.
There's this sweat and this smell that came out of me from dairy. And I felt like a little baby heifer.
Ah.
And I wanted a feminine, flowery smell. And I don't get that from using dairy,
Yeah.
right?
Now, when you talk about the oils, I mean, a lot of the oils come from plants. For example, coconut oil,
Well, that's
olive
okay.
oil. Those kind of oils are okay.
Well, I would go as far as saying any oil that is not GMO grown would be a good oil for you to
Right.
use, because most things are cultivated on a high volume scale, and it's designed to copy
Right.
the GMO behavior.
But local coconut oil is probably one of the best.
I'm telling you, we are so blessed to
Yeah.
have this. Not the one that is fired heat, just the one that is cold press.
Cold press.
That one is coming out of oh man, I'm sorry, you guys. Silk grass. Oh, thank you,
The
Lord.
silkgrass coconut
Yes,
oil.
that's like, that's like in demand. That stuff is gold. Every time I go up to the States, I take it. Not
Uh-huh.
to sell, as gifts, you know, because people just love that stuff. Where I stay, coconut, fresh coconut oil from cold press. We are so blessed that way, to. But you're right, your campaign about pollution and all the plastic and
Yeah.
corrosiveness and how we leave our trash everywhere.
And there's so many plants here that a lot of people don't know about that are good to eat, and we don't require a lot of pesticides or herbicides or too much water. And it's important to learn about those. And we have had some really good speakers on that. But the herb thing is important, so important because of the health benefits of using herbs. And
Yeah.
another question was, what is good for prostate? So many men are having prostate issues.
Yeah. That is sad. It is, and that begins in the kitchen. And it's when I was at the market and I consulted with many people on the same subject. It starts in the kitchen. It's a improper diet, and the body has its ways, and the prostate is an issue. But profoundly, there is some new research out, right? And we have the saw palmetto we've been using for years, and that landscape boat, the roadsides going just about everywhere, coastal road, whatever highway you're on, a saw palmetto is growing. But refusing monosodium glutamate in your diet, like MSG in
Uh-huh.
your diet, is the first step to healing it, right? To healing yourself. And on salts, you got to have salt. But sea salt is a good salt to use because of the minerals. So you really need that. But um, cassava,
Cassava
cassava root.
root.
Yes, now I would like to recommend to who find this interesting to go to Earth Medicine on YouTube and look up cassava and the prostate issues, and you'll get it there firsthand, how you can treat yourself, right? And I'd also like to introduce Barbara O'Neill to whomever is listening who would like to adopt an adaptogen lifestyle of healing, right? So Barbara O'Neill is an Australian woman who is profound in explanation and experience of getting you well, and you don't have to dig deep in your pocketbook, right?
Barbara
Which
O'Neill.
Barbara O'Neill.
And does she have a book or she have
She has
lectures
she
on?
has many lectures, and she has a couple of books, and but I find her extremely informative. And if you were really serious about getting yourself well, Barbara will help you get there on that physical note, right? But then there is this spiritual note, right? That is also important to heal your body. And you have to have a good dose of a relationship with God. You need to just dig in and indulge in God because He is the designer, the creator. He knows how your body works. He said He knew you before you were born. And so once
Spiritual connection.
you got to have it. And once you have these things in place, your body is glowing. You'll light it up like a 1,000 watt bulb. As a matter of fact, I even put Bain Janice at Bain Janice 1000 at Gmail because I feel like a 1,000 watt bulb, right? I feel renewed in myself that I know my body and my mind enough to know what it takes to get through the day. And I have bad days. Yes, I do. I do. But I have more good days than bad days, right? And I have a working relationship with God, especially working in nature as much as I do. And the joy I get from pulling weeds is like ecstatic. Or sitting on creeping Jenny, earthing my body there. It's,
The creeping
yeah,
Jenny is
the little white flowers that
yeah,
you said that it's like a carpet.
right.
And you see, again, I didn't even know I had that. God opened me my eyes, and when I saw that, they were little patches, and now they're giants. And all I did was nurture it, and just nurture it, and it rewarded me with that. Now, Karen, I am not one for thanking the plants. I thank the Creator. I always say, Hallelujah, God, that you made these smells, these tastes, and I just praise Him. But I never thank the plant. I appreciate it and I love it and I care for it. But I don't ask it for permission because it's it's just like animal, wild. Everything has been ordained. It's been handed over to me. I have dominion over all these things in faith. God has put these things that I just walk through the bushes and snakes and tigers and everything will go. They are not, they're like, the light is here. And I'm not trying to make myself seem like anything. This is just the faith that God walks with me, right? And I go down there, this little, as I call myself, the little old lady puddling way down this, how, and people are just like, what's going to harm me? It's man I should be afraid of. God is with me. He takes me down there and bring me back. That's where the charging station is for the devices, right? So what I'm saying is that put nature in your life. Forgive those who have wronged you. And you'll see that you start to heal. Within no time, your body starts to pulsate and you're skipping with joy if you can still skip.
Let's talk a little bit more about the adaptogenic herbs that are available in Belize. Because
Okay.
I know ginseng does not grow here. And some of the other, the ashwagandha of the
Okay,
north.
we have three species for sure of ashwagandha. This is first cousin to the ashwagandha that goes in India.
Right.
Now, seeds were brought from India and seeds were brought from America,
Uh-huh.
and none of them survived here.
Right.
Just like when I bring vegetable seeds and stuff from America, they don't grow here.
Right.
They might sprout, but the lifespan is,
Right.
it just like little bonsai and they're gone. So that now what I notice and where did these species came from? It's I want to show some pictures. They came, I think, from the indentured workers that were here. See, that were here, that came from India to do the railroads.
Uh-huh.
So now I think they brought some of these species here
And this
from
is what?
India.
What is this here?
This is one of the ashwagandhas.
Ah,
See, it has this little fruit.
it looks almost like a.
You can print your picture on them
Okay.
when you do see them. They all species have the same little flower.
Uh-huh.
And
the,
now I
the
put,
one here is it's called Mullica, right?
no, that's in this Leslie Taylor, that's in the Amazon.
Ah,
Yes, it's also called ground cherry. It's called
okay.
it has many names. Here it's called Belize ashwagandha.
Belize
Uh-huh.
ashwagandha.
And that word, just like in Jamaica, is Jamaican ashwagandha. But in Belize, it's Belize ashwagandha.
Yeah,
And
you
then
gave me some of those plants, and they grow from seed, and the seed is in the little.
it takes 3 months with our time zone.
Ah,
With our time zone, in other countries, it's up to 2 years
whoa.
before it's full. But here, it's 3 months. So you got to step on it. This is
And
ashwagandha.
okay, and
It's
that's a tincture.
it's a tincture.
Yeah. And how do you
Uh,
make a tincture? Maybe you could explain that to people. I've been making tinctures for many years.
okay.
It's a
I
very
take 10 pounds of the fresh herb
right.
and chop it up or dry it and then put it in a big ball jar
Uh-huh.
and I pour vodka on it.
Vodka,
Uh-huh.
100 proof.
Uh-huh. And I let it sit 3 months minimum.
Ah,
But I will come there but once a week and shake it.
in a dark place. You should keep it in a dark place.
Yes. Uh-huh. But I have the dark
The dark bottle to
the blue
protect it.
bottles, yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is ashwagandha. I introduced this. I used to. I wasn't making the tincture. I needed something to calm my nerves because I was in a terrible way. And I went to pull this thing out of my yard many times, out of my pots.
Uh-huh.
But there is this consciousness said, leave it. I left it. And I went there again and I wanted to pull it because it was getting bigger and it didn't go with the plant, you know.
Uh-huh.
Leave it. And I did. So I finally, I rubbed it and smell it. This is the cue that you know you have this species, is it smells like a sweaty horse. When you rub the leaves together, it
Uh-huh.
smells like a sweaty horse. When you harvest the root and pull them up, mosquitoes run because it smells really, really like a sweaty
It's very
horse.
bitter too.
Yes, but it's awesome, and you soon lose that bitterness thing, and you're like, wow, I love you. You know, it works really good. But I had originally put this sawdust here because I thought I would be able to plant ashwagandha because I went to a rice place in Spanish Lookout and there was a lot of ashwagandha growing in the rice patch.
Uh-huh.
But I realized I couldn't use it because it was grown with chemicals. So I had to let this go, you know, but I realized how they prospered in a luminous, loose soil. So I thought I could try to do wood chips and maybe that would be an alternative because it's like this clay soil
Right.
here, even though this place here was already planted out 2 acres of ashwagandha. So I had gotten a little nudge from this guy from China that he wanted to buy ashwagandha from me because he had bought this little bottle and he thought it was something very special and he bought a little bit and took back with him, right? But so I said I will plant it and then I will tell you how I could do this for you. But right when I had gotten the ashwagandha in, and I was so excited about getting it in because these little young virgins were helping me plant it, and I am not a superstitious person, but I prefer things that are purified and clean and you know that are not, you know what I'm saying, and
Mhm.
virgins are usually that way and they're young innocent, so they were helping me plant ashwagandha. So there was this blessed ashwagandha. I thought COVID locked us down and couldn't get here, and by the time we did, it was not only overgrown, they had died. So that was
But you're
that.
growing it here now.
Not like I don't have a market anymore,
Ah,
and I'm not at the market where I could have sold them, but
but you have some that you're growing for your own purposes.
they pop
They just pop
They,
up.
they they pop up like the serpentina. They pop up all over the
Oh,
place.
wow. Well, you gave me some, and I'm growing it, and it's doing well.
Mm-hmm.
And but the seeds will come from the little pods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they dry out. You dry them out.
Wow.
You have to dry them first, right, before you plant them.
You don't have to,
Okay.
because usually when they fall off, you want to do this?
Yeah.
Squeeze it to make sure you have it in. When they fall on the ground, they sprout there, and then they come right up in the pots or in the ground or wherever. You'll find a whole little bunch of ashwagandha growing. Yes,
Very
yes,
good.
but it goes to the brain
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah, that's another thing that a lot of people are concerned about. People are getting dementia and
Diet
yeah,
and those cell phones. The electricity. See, and this is the cell phone drains that the neurons, your natural neurons. It voids it because cell phone is always on you. You're sleeping it by your head. You're always with your cell phone, right? So you need to have a station where this stays away from you at certain times. But this is why there's this much disease, is because people do not have a proper diet. They're burdened with stress, and they're not listening to the call of the body that is saying, I can heal you. Just slow down and eliminate. So anyone who wants to be well, make an elimination list of things that you know is not good for you.
particularly foods that have been sprayed with pesticides.
This is the first thing,
Yeah.
because it's no longer a conspiracy fact. It's the reality is that food kills.
Yeah.
So
Well, I have always said that one day we're going to be known as the age of stupid for putting poison on our food.
but
And,
we've been brainwashed,
and
because
a
I
lot of it
remember
is
as a kid
absorbed into the food.
how ashamed I was to go and buy sugar because brown sugar, because people think you were uncouth
Uh,
because you didn't use white sugar.
right,
But no, all sugar is not good for you.
right.
Yeah.
Too
So
much sugar.
I am leaning towards avoiding it 100%.
Now, what about the
Yes.
other sweeteners like honey, stevia?
Stevia, yeah. And honey, yeah. If you're making your own, doing your own thing, and you're not putting corn syrup in it, because there's some bad conspiracy out there, man. They just alter date it, just make it very, very unhealthy.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a shift going on. I think more and more
There
people
are
are
more and more people.
having their own gardens and getting away from the mass production of food. It's very important. I mean, when you think about it, if you're eating food that's been sprayed with chemicals, your body is very busy getting rid of those toxins.
Yeah, that's
So
where
then
the
you have
adaptogen come in again.
you have a germ coming in, a bacteria or a virus coming in, and your body is just overloaded. And that's when you get sick.
But
So,
see, like in Belize, we have a high rate of diabetes,
yes.
and with diabetes comes a lot of complications, because and it's centered around lifestyle, right? It's just that when I was at the market, I considered that more like a homing place to to alert, right, and to share. So people would bring, and I would bring, and we would share. But I always want people to come there that are sick, that could get themselves well, without having to spend a lot of money to do it, and you can.
Can we talk a little bit about neem?
Powerful herb.
Yeah.
And of course, you introduced that to me. That is such a wonderful herb. I'd seen it in my herb book, my Ayurveda book, but I didn't have no idea how powerful. Now, the day you gave me three branches, little plugs of them, and I set them on the dashboard, and the next day they were dried and crispy. And I went in and I dropped them in the pot and I made tea and drank it. And I tell you, within 2, 3 hours, my body just had a whole, it was like something come charging through the bowel movements. And it's not like I'm saying this is the same reaction for anyone, but it was like poison had to leave the body fast, right? And it started to leave. And I said to myself, I have to get some more of this. So I went and I found, I next thing you know, I'm on the bus going to Central Farm because I found out they had a whole bunch of trees growing there.
Yeah.
And I drank it for like 3 weeks. And when I tell you, all those pain in the joints went away, the digestion improved, the skin cleared up, the headache went away, right? I mean, it's like your stool go through different colors and textures and smells, right? But after 3 weeks, you're like a new machine.
It's also
Right.
supposed to be very good for people with diabetes because it regulates the blood sugar.
Yes.
But people
yes.
still need to get tested because sometimes it can bring it too low.
Okay. You see this one right here with those long leaves?
Yeah.
The insulin plant?
Oh, that's Sprengeri, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Which one are you talking about?
Right here. This one right here.
Oh, okay. No, I was looking at
Yes.
the other one.
I see them eating it
Uh-huh.
fresh, making tea out of it.
And what is that called?
They call it the insulin plant.
Insulin.
I do have the information on it, but it's on my notes.
Oh,
But it grows well. It even the ants like it
ah,
because they cleaned out the whole patch of it that I have, and they also cleaned out my chaya.
and how about turmeric?
Love turmeric. Turmeric is really now neem. Like we're drinking neem and turmeric today with the adaptogen, the basil.
Uh-huh.
Um, but turmeric dries up a lot of pus. Um, that's what earthing does too. Earthing let pus leave the body. You might find pus in your stool, pus in your eyes, pus when you blow your nose. But see, we're literally rotting from inside. Our bodies are just. This is why you got to keep it clean. Keep it detoxified and keep your temperature low because when your temperature is too high, you're inflamed, right? So you need your normal body temperature and not exceeding excess heat like alcohol will do to you. It'll heat up your body, or eating too much pepper, you're sweating, and maybe that's okay once in a while, but as a routine, no. You want to treat this machine that is fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of God. You got to treat it good because it has one agenda: is to make you happy, right? And when you're healthy, you're happy. You're healthy, you're happy.
True.
And you notice we're not living as long as we used to. We used to live hundreds of years, and nowadays we're not doing that. We're fading down pretty quick.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors that affect our longevity, that's for sure. Pollution being one, the way we grow our food, and take care of ourselves. This has been very interesting. Are there any other herbs that you want to mention that people can easily grow and are beneficial? You mentioned the adaptogenic herbs, the
Basils,
The
all
basil
basils, yeah,
and
you
the
can grow.
ashwagandha. And are there any other herbs in Belize that you feel are adaptogenic?
Well, there is a herb that is profound. It removes a lot of things and it causes the body to do some fast healing. And that's the Piediarco.
What is it?
Piediarco.
Ah, Pio d'Arco.
Uh-huh.
That
As in,
grows here as well?
well, it's one of our trees, yeah. And you know, we're fortunate to have the light and dark pink, the white, the yellow.
Wow.
I think we have four species growing. I saw the yellow when I was down in PG, but it's the bark. It and it's profound for women because it clears up the yeast. Especially if you're a dairy eater, you need to drink at least 3 weeks a year. You need to drink Pia de Arco to get your body cleaned up of all the fungus that's in it from the dairy. It's so controversial. Your food, and even some of the food that we have is not healthy because the soil is not healthy, right? There,
Right.
people are using petroleum fertilizers, and now for me, I make my own fertilizer, right? I mulch my own stuff. Before I used to buy Miracle Grow and do all this stuff. Now I buy half spile fish from Natalie from the fish from the market, right? She saves it for me, and I bring it home, put it in a bucket with equivalent, if I have molasses or brown sugar, let it sit 3 to 6 months. By the time I get back to this, it's a thick brown molasses, right? So I use 1 cup, I mean 1 ounce to a bucket of water, and I go around and I water my plants. And I think my plants, they're very healthy, and they're growing wonderful. No, my problem with growing is the ants.
Uh-huh.
But my friend Carmen from Valley of Peace educated me that the rind and after you squeeze the juice, that's what you feed the ants. And
What do you use?
the whatever citrus fruit you have,
Citrus.
you squeeze out the fruit, the juice, and then you put the fruit, and the ants will come and they'll take it.
Uh-huh.
And when they take it and put it in their area, it'll cause them to die at some point. I feel guilty in a way, but they're kind of terrorizing me. And,
Yeah.
they
Somebody once told me that there are only two species on the planet that will have wars, and that are humans and ants, but ants will only fight for 2 weeks. So I tried this experiment once. They said take ants from one ant hill and mix it with another ant hill, and they will have this war, and then everybody leaves.
wow, that's a good
It
strategy
seemed to work,
too.
but it's it's
Yeah, she
pretty
was telling me that she learned that from Spain. That's what they do in Spain.
in Spain.
Yes.
Whoa.
So
So citrus,
I,
citrus
I have
peels.
regular feeding time now for the ants. I go out and take their orange for them.
You give them the orange peels.
Yes, and the
Any,
everything else that I don't eat, I give to them.
okay,
Yeah.
and they're happy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay, well, this was very interesting, and I'm sure that people are going to have some questions.
The
Maybe,
earthing. Karen, maybe you can put up some links
yeah,
for them. I will give them to you.
okay,
Because it is a proven science. It's
yeah,
not but we don't even have to defend it because our ancestors did this.
yeah,
They put themselves away for 3 days in the earth, and when they came up, they were healed. But all these ancient concepts have been taken away from us because we're directed to pharmaceuticals, and
right,
we're directed to other professionals to service us.
right, right.
People like myself are eventually quacked out, you know, and degraded over things that are like, okay, if that's the way you feel, fine.
Yeah, yeah, you
So
can't argue.
on my way.
Can't argue. You can
Yes.
just help people to understand.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and I will put up those links about earthing. And
Yes.
I had heard about it before and read about it before, but never really practiced it. I'm going to start practicing it. And good, good, good. Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay, let me get this up here. All right, this is the Belize ashwagandha, which I know I've seen this, maybe even on our property, but I don't remember where, but I know I've seen it. And this is the contribo. And it actually turns into be a really big vine if it's kind of out in the wild and left to grow. And these are the links. And so as Karen said, she'll also put these up on the website. So on prostate issues, go to a YouTube and watch that one. And there's two of them. And then the earthing documentary. And I've always heard earthing called ground. So if others are like me, grounding is the same thing. Basically coming in contact with the earth, walk around barefoot. And then her suggested contacts, Dr. Regina Major, and there's her phone number, 613-3141. Lucia Ellis wrote a book on Garufuna herbs, and she can be found at the Numasa Wellness Resource Center, 673-1330. And Dr. Anna Arzu at Mountain Spirit in the Punta Gorda area, which there's a website, arzumountainspirit.com/about. So that information will also be up on the website. And if anybody missed the beginning, what Karen's done is she's kind of created a separate page on the Pro-Organic website. And so it's, if you type in pro-organicbelize.org/Bain2.html, and then you can see the pictures of the contribo, the Belize ashwagandha, and the links to the YouTube videos and the phone numbers for the people that she mentioned. So I know that I saw a couple of comments in the chat session. One of them, so maybe somebody would know an answer to this that's on the call. Talking about endometriosis and an ovarian cyst, and wondering what would help. So Karen, that would be one to pass along to Janice. Does anybody have any questions that they would like to submit via the chat session other than that one? No? Karen, did you have anything else that you wanted to add, or anyone on the call want to add something or have a comment about the presentation? Anything, feel free.
This is Amita.
Wanted to consult with her. She said the best way to reach her is through WhatsApp. I don't have the number handy right now, but she's not really online a lot because she lives deep in the jungle. It took me quite a while to find her, and down a really rocky, bumpy road, but we did manage to meet up. So did somebody else have something to say? I think I.
Oh, this is Amita. I'm from Uganda, and neem is grown there a lot and used a lot. And they have, the word for neem is marabaine, meaning that it has 40 different illnesses that it helps with.
Yeah, the tree of 40 cures in India.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
in Africa. In India, it's known as the village pharmacy.
Oh, and man, I had the tea of it, and it is the worst tasting bitter stuff.
Awful.
Ooh.
Awful.
I-
Terrible.
It's horrible. I was like, oh, how can I beat this?
Yeah. When I was there, she had a tea made with neem and turmeric. And I forget what the other ingredient was, but it was awful.
Oh, I just can't do it. I think bathing with neem is wonderful,
Yeah.
like for psoriasis and things like that. But
Acne.
wow,
Mhm.
acne. Oh, okay.
Well, I make a tincture of the neem because it's easier to put that in a little bit of juice or something and you don't have the horrible taste.
My
Actually,
friend has a huge tree. It grows fast.
yeah. Well, I have about 30 of them here.
Oh God.
Yeah, so if anybody wants them, I save the seeds up and give them away. It's an amazing tree. And also, the one thing about neem is it keeps the bugs away. I make a little concoction with neem and soap nuts and use it as a spray for my dogs to keep the bugs off the dogs too. But in my yard, there's you as soon as you walk out of my yard, we take the dogs for a walk up the road. That's when the bugs start getting you. But here in the yard with all the neem trees, the bugs are not too bad. But the ants will take down a neem tree in one night. However, I've noticed that the leaves all come back nice and thick. It's almost like a natural thing with neem.
And Dottie submitted a comment or a question to please ask Janice how to use Cheapy Lean.
Cheapy lean. That's an herb plant. Dottie, that's a plant.
Yeah, it grows in our garden and it's very popular in 7 Mile, but I'm just not sure how to use it. I put quite a bit of it in soup and it made it kind of pungent. And so I'm just wondering how does she use it for anything other than, eat it in soup?
Okay, I will find out and I will let you know.
Okay.
Okay, so that was good.
And then Mary
just
wants to
Sorry,
go ahead.
Mary, go ahead.
No, Mary submitted a comment, wants to know if Janice has tours of her land and plants.
No, I don't think she does, but she might be willing to do it. Yeah, because she has some great plants there. That purple flower, he has like a whole garden of those flowers and they're sort of creeping vines, so they climb all over these sticks. And then she has a house that's made with coconut leaves, but it's her vanilla house. She's got vanilla growing in this little house. So she does have quite a bit of interesting stuff. I will ask her. She might be very willing to do it.
I was going to say that we're introducing 3 new iced teas into Belize in 2 weeks, and they're turmeric leaf tea with lime.
Ooh.
Then we have soursop leaf tea with turmeric leaf, and then we have hibiscus or sorrel with turmeric leaf.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's coming with hardly any sugar, and it is brown sugar.
So now where are your products sold in Belize, like in the Cayo area, in the Belmopan area?
At Brody's, at wherever you see that Circle R rice, they are our distributor, and so we're just going to release them in 2 weeks. But man, they are so lovely, especially I really like the soursop leaf tea.
Soursop leaf is also used as a cure for certain cancers.
Really?
Yeah. Liver cancer or colon cancer, I'm not sure which.
But
But
lovely smells.
in case anybody comes by and says they have cancer.
Well, thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Okay, see you later.